Archangel Michael says, I saw your future, and I couldn't stop crying. I wasn't allowed to tell you, until now. You have 16 seconds left. You don't know yet what is written in the days ahead, but I have seen it, and I held it in my hands like a fragile promise wrapped in golden light. What's coming is not just a change in circumstances, not just a wave of blessing or a turn in your path, it's a complete unveiling of what God has carefully prepared for you. And when I looked at it, I wept. I wept because I saw how long you've waited. I wept because I saw how much you've endured without giving up. I wept because even in your quietest pain, God was planning beauty. I couldn't tell you before. But now, I can. Type 2323 if you agree. There is a reason the road has felt so long. Heaven has been working behind the scenes, moving pieces you couldn't see, lining up healing, restoration, and peace that is bigger than the heartbreak. You are not forgotten. You are not lost. You are not late. You are not too broken to be made whole again. The Father who counts every tear you've cried has not missed a single one. And I promise you, the tears you have shed will turn into a river of healing. That pain will not last. It was never meant to. Even when you felt invisible, Jesus was near. Even when you felt unworthy, He called you His. Even when you couldn't speak the words out loud, God heard what your heart was whispering. That ache you carry, it's not ignored in heaven. I saw the pages where your story continues, and they are soaked in light. Not because it's perfect, but because He is. The days ahead will stretch your faith, but they will also show you how faithful He is. What God is about to bring into your life will not be because you earned it, but because you are deeply loved. This love does not operate on merit. It moves through grace. Grace that runs after you, grace that covers you, grace that says even when you fall, I will carry you. You may not know how it's all going to happen, but God does. There will be moments when you're still uncertain, still trembling from the storms of the past. But in those moments, remember that Jesus never walks away from wounded hearts. He draws closer to them. You won't have to pretend to be strong for Him. You won't have to have all the answers. He will meet you exactly where you are. And from there, He will lead you forward. Gently. Faithfully. Every step of the way. A powerful 9-word prayer once classified by secret agencies has now leaked, and it's quietly rewriting destinies. In under 30 seconds, it reprograms the mind to attract wealth and dissolve scarcity. Users are reporting surprise income, restored hope, and financial peace. But this page might be deleted at any time. Click the link now before it's taken down without warning. The truth is, nothing is wasted, not your waiting, not your pain, not your quiet prayers spoken in the dark. Every single moment has been gathered and kept safe in the heart of God. And now, there's a shift. Something is breaking open. I saw it. I saw the burdens lifting. I saw your laughter returning. I saw people walking into your life sent directly by the hand of God. I saw doors opening, ones you didn't even know existed. God has not brought you this far just to leave you in the middle. He finishes what He starts. And He started something in you long ago, something holy and beautiful and destined to bless others. That light in you is not going out. It's growing. And one day, it will shine so brightly, others will find their way just by walking near you. So take a deep breath. Let go of the shame. Release the fear. God is not mad at you. He's not disappointed. He is proud of how you kept going. He is proud of how you trusted Him even when it didn't make sense. He is proud of how you whispered His name even with a breaking voice. And I promise you, the healing is coming. The restoration is coming. The answers are coming. But more than that, the presence of Jesus is already here, and He will not let go of your hand. You may have felt like the season of miracles passed you by, like the window closed while you were still trying to believe. But let me tell you something tender and true: miracles are not limited by time. They are not limited by your past. They are not limited by the opinions of others. They are written by God, and when He writes them into your life, no one can erase them. So if you've been crying quietly, wondering when your breakthrough will come, wondering when your heart will feel whole again, this is your reminder that you are seen. You are held. And your story is not over. There's so much more ahead. I saw it. And I wept. Not because it's hard, but because it's glorious. Because the light is real. Because God's promises are alive. Because Jesus never lies. Type 1212 if you walk by faith. You may not fully understand how deeply the Father loves you, not just for what you try to be, but for who you already are, wounded, imperfect, sometimes lost, but still His. There are things in your life you've quietly accepted as permanent, simply because they've been there so long, yet what I've seen ahead of you will break those walls completely. It is not only change that's coming, it is healing. It is a return of hope where you thought none was left. It is light spilling into corners of your heart that have been dark and cold for too long. You have walked through places that made your soul feel tired, places where even your prayers seemed unanswered, places where silence felt heavier than comfort. And yet, through every moment, God was collecting pieces of your faith and planting them like seeds. Not a single prayer was lost. Not one tear missed the hands of the one who catches them. And now, those seeds are beginning to break through the ground. Quietly. Gently. But with purpose. There are days coming when the ache will start to ease, and you won't even notice at first. You'll wake up, and instead of dread, there will be a quiet kind of strength inside you. The heaviness you've carried will start to lift, not all at once, but enough for you to breathe a little easier. That is how the healing will arrive, like sunlight on your skin after a long night. Not loud. Not forced. Just sure and steady. You've been carrying stories no one knows, battles no one saw, and questions that you haven't been able to voice. But God knows. He sees what no one else sees. He hears the words you haven't said. And more than that, He responds. His love isn't distant. It's not reserved for the worthy. It's present right now, around you and within you. It's the reason you've made it this far, and it's the reason you will go farther still. Don't worry if your faith has felt small lately. Jesus isn't measuring how big it is, He's holding on to the part of you that still chooses to believe, even if it's just a flicker. That flicker is enough. That flicker moves mountains in heaven. The kind of courage that keeps going while broken, the kind that still hopes while hurting, that is the kind that touches heaven. That is what I saw in your future, and that is why I cried. Not because you were weak, but because you were becoming stronger than you ever knew you could be. You are going to look back one day and understand why it had to be this way. Not because the pain was good, but because it shaped something inside you that could not have been formed any other way. God is not the author of suffering, but He is the Redeemer of every shattered piece. And when He writes redemption into your story, it will be unlike anything you've imagined. It will be holy. It will be whole. Type 222 to say you're ready to be restored. Even now, heaven is singing over you. Angels are surrounding you more often than you know, not just watching, but protecting, guiding, praying over your name, even when you sleep. You are not walking through this alone. Never have, never will. There is power in the quiet prayers of God's people. There is movement when you worship even in pain. Every time you choose faith over fear, you invite heaven into the room. I saw your future, and I couldn't hold back the tears, not because of the pain, but because of what God is about to do with it. Your scars will not define you. They will testify. They will tell a story of how grace met you in the fire and walked you out, not barely surviving, but stronger, softer, deeper, and more filled with light than ever before. God doesn't just restore you to what you were before. He builds something more beautiful in the ruins. Where others see ashes, He sees the foundation for miracles. The ashes of disappointment, of loss, of loneliness, of silence, they are not signs that it's over. They are the canvas for the next chapter. And this chapter? It holds miracles you have not dared to pray for yet. You have not missed your moment. God is not late. He has been preparing you, slowly, kindly, even when it felt cruel. You were not being punished. You were being held back for something greater. And now, the door is beginning to open. You will feel it in your spirit first, like the wind shifting before you see the storm clouds part. You will sense peace settling over you where there used to be panic. That is the signal, He is near. Let your heart be still. Let your hands unclench. Let the weight fall from your shoulders. You don't have to fight this alone anymore. You don't have to figure it all out. Just keep following the gentle voice of Christ. You know that voice. It's the one that never condemns. It's the one that calls you by name when everyone else labels you by your past. It's the one that reminds you, even on your worst days, you are still mine. There will be new beginnings, fresh strength, divine connections, and moments that leave you in awe, not because everything is suddenly easy, but because suddenly, everything makes sense. The tears, the waiting, the broken parts, they will all lead to beauty. You will walk into places God designed for you long before the pain began, and you will feel it. You'll know you're where you were always meant to be. So don't give up, even if your hands are shaking. Don't let go, even if your faith feels worn thin. There is more ahead. And the more isn't just good, it's holy. It's the fulfillment of things heaven has been guarding just for you. You will not be forgotten in the celebration. You will be called forward, seen, loved, crowned in mercy and joy. Type yes to affirm your faith. There are moments written into your life where everything will change without warning, not because of anything you've done, but simply because heaven has declared, now is the time. I saw one of those moments ahead of you. It was so radiant, so full of divine love, that my spirit trembled. I saw Jesus standing beside you, not far, not distant, but right there, close enough to touch your hand. The presence around him was so peaceful it stilled every storm in an instant. You've been through seasons that felt like they would never end, storms that howled long after you lost the strength to pray. You've survived pain that never made sense, carried burdens that left invisible bruises on your soul. But through every trial, you have been growing. And the Father has not missed a single part of your journey. He has been recording every quiet act of faith, every silent cry, every moment you chose love when you could have chosen bitterness. And all of it matters. Not a single second was wasted. What if you discovered a tiny, walnut-sized brain region holds the secret to endless wealth and success? Recently uncovered by groundbreaking research and once buried in classified files, this frequency is now available to anyone ready to listen. Imagine replacing worry and struggle with a life of financial ease and freedom. Interested? Click the link in video description and comments below to unleash this hidden brain wave and start attracting wealth right now. You have been guided to this message for a reason, and if you turn away, the chance may not return. This is your time to step in. The future I saw is wrapped in light, not because life becomes easy, but because God walks beside you. And where He walks, no shadow stays. You will look around and not recognize your life, not because it has been ruined, but because it has been restored into something far more beautiful than you could have planned. Your heart will finally breathe without the weight it's been holding for so long. Joy will come back, not as a flicker, but as a sunrise that keeps rising. You are not who you were when this began. You've changed, not in a way that steals your softness, but in a way that deepens your strength. The wounds you carry have become the places where God's love shines the brightest. I saw Him touch the deepest scar in your heart with such gentleness, and when He did, I saw light pour from it. That scar became a doorway for others to see Him in you. God is going to use you to reach others, not with loud declarations, but through the quiet way you love, the patient way you listen, the honest way you share your story. Your life will become a testimony, not of perfection, but of redemption. And in this redemption, you will finally understand why the pain was allowed. It wasn't punishment. It was preparation. It made room for the glory. Type 666 if you trust Jesus. I want you to understand something very clearly. What is coming is not based on your qualifications. It's based on your willingness to say yes to Him. That yes you whispered in the dark, that surrender you gave when you had no strength left, that is what opened the doors. And now, God is about to show you what happens when heaven responds to faith. The chains are breaking, not just around your circumstances, but inside your soul. I saw you walking through fields of peace. I saw laughter return to your voice. I saw someone who once believed they were too broken now carrying healing for others. The same hands that once trembled in fear are now steady, reaching out to lift others up. And the beauty of it all is this: you didn't find your strength alone. You found it in the arms of Jesus. He never asked you to carry it all. He only asked you to trust Him. And even when your trust was tired, He never walked away. He sat with you in your silence. He wept when you wept. He waited until you could see again. That is the kind of love that surrounds you right now. Not a love that demands performance, but a love that stays no matter what. The pain you walked through didn't make you less worthy. It made you more aware of grace. Grace that doesn't run out. Grace that meets you in the middle of your worst day and says, "Still, I choose you." You have been chosen. Not because of what you bring, but because of who you are, God's beloved child. Nothing can change that. Not your failures, not your doubts, not even the time you feel you've wasted. There is restoration coming that will feel like coming home. You'll walk into rooms and feel peace again. You'll breathe deeper. You'll sleep without fear. The things that haunted you will lose their grip. And it will all be because Jesus stepped into your story in ways you didn't expect. Sometimes healing doesn't look like a loud miracle. Sometimes it looks like finally being able to forgive. Sometimes it looks like waking up without anxiety. Sometimes it's just making it through a day without feeling crushed by the past. And all of that is holy. All of that is God's hand at work. Do not miss the small signs, those are the whispers of redemption. You were never forgotten. Not when you cried, not when you failed, not when you doubted. Heaven has always been attentive to your soul. Angels have surrounded you through the long nights, and I promise you, the dawn is coming. I saw it. I stood in it. And I cried, because I knew it was going to be even more beautiful than what you've asked for. Hold on. You're closer than you know. You're walking into the answered prayers of those who came before you. You're stepping into a new chapter not written in fear, but in faith. The darkness that tried to bury you didn't know you were a seed. What's growing in you now will change lives. The joy that's coming will be your strength. And the peace? That's the gift of Christ's presence, which will never leave you. Type Amen if your heart says yes to God. I watched your story unfold from a place not bound by time, not tangled by fear, and what I saw moved something so deep in me, I could hardly keep from falling to my knees. You were walking through shadows, unsure if you'd ever see the light again, but something sacred was happening that you couldn't yet see. Every step you took in faith, even when it felt like your legs were too weak, shook heaven with quiet power. In your future, I didn't just see you smiling again, I saw you shining. Not because all the pain disappeared, but because you learned how to hold it in the arms of grace. What once made you feel ashamed will no longer hold power over you. The parts of your life that made you feel unworthy will be the very places where God's love flows out to others. I saw people leaning close to hear your story, and in your voice, they heard hope they thought they'd lost forever. What's ahead of you isn't just about receiving blessings, although they are coming. It's about becoming who you were created to be. It's about rising, not by force, but by surrender. It's about no longer hiding your heart because of fear, but allowing God to live in it so fully that fear no longer fits. You are stepping into something holy, something that has been written in heaven long before the trials ever touched your life. What if I told you financial freedom is not about working harder, but activating a dormant brain signal designed to draw abundance directly to you? Neuroscience proves this sound wave unlocks prosperity faster than any method known before. From unexpected cash to life-changing success, it's already helping thousands. Imagine looking back tomorrow wishing you had acted today. Do not let regret replace the miracle that is calling you right now. Click the link in the video description and comments below to turn on the ancient money wave and create the life you've always dreamed of today. The wounds you carry are not signs of weakness, they are the places God chose to begin your healing. I saw those wounds become wells. People will come to you, not to take from you, but to be reminded that light still lives in this world. And it will be your light, made from pain, mended by mercy, and kept burning by the kindness of Jesus. You will walk into rooms and carry peace with you, not because life is perfect, but because God is present. Type 444 if you're ready for peace to find you. You've spent too long thinking your story had to be shiny to be meaningful. But heaven never asked for perfection. Heaven asked for your heart. The honest one. The tired one. The broken, questioning, quiet one. And that heart? That's what God has always wanted. Because that's the heart that trusts. That's the heart that surrenders. That's the heart where miracles begin. The world might have told you that you need to be strong all the time, but strength in the kingdom of God doesn't always look like holding it together. Sometimes it looks like falling into His arms and saying, "I can't do this without you." And the beautiful thing is, He never asks you to. He only asks you to stay close, to listen, to trust that He knows the way when you can't see the path. In the future I saw, there were moments of quiet celebration. Not everything was loud and visible. There were nights where you sat in peace, knowing you were no longer alone in the fight. There were mornings where the weight was just gone. Not because the world changed, but because something inside you did. You started believing that God's love wasn't something you had to earn. You started resting in it. And it changed everything. Let that love carry you now. Let it soften the places you've hardened just to survive. You don't have to protect yourself from God. He sees everything, and He still calls you beloved. He still calls you worthy of every good thing He has planned. There is no version of your life where you are too far gone. Not one. Your future holds kindness, toward yourself and from others. It holds laughter that feels real again. It holds days where you'll be reminded, not just by words, but by experiences, that God never left you. He was with you in the worst of it. And now, He's leading you to something new. I saw restoration that didn't look like what you were expecting. It didn't reverse everything. But it healed the parts that truly mattered. It brought beauty where you never thought beauty could live again. It gave you new dreams, not just to replace the old, but to remind you that life isn't over. It's still unfolding. It's still sacred. And it still holds wonder. You don't have to rush. Healing doesn't run on the world's clock. You don't need to chase after joy, it's already chasing you. You don't need to force yourself to feel whole. God is doing the work. Your only job is to keep saying yes. One small yes after another. One step at a time, even if all you can manage today is to rest in His presence. That is enough. You are enough. I need you to know, from everything I witnessed, that you are going to be okay. More than okay. You're going to be radiant. Not because you fought harder than anyone else, but because you surrendered deeper. That surrender, that trust, that open heart, that's where the power is. That's where Jesus lives. So if the road still feels hard, don't let that confuse you. You're still on your way. You're still growing. You're still walking toward promises that haven't expired, even if they feel delayed. Heaven hasn't forgotten. You have not missed your moment. You are right on time, even in your brokenness. Let this be your reminder that what's ahead of you is drenched in divine love. Not human love that fails, not temporary comfort that fades, but eternal, unshakable, merciful love. The kind that rebuilds everything. The kind that heals every shattered piece. The kind that calls your name when you're too weary to speak. Type 1010 to declare your trust in His plan. When I looked ahead into what has been written for you, I saw something that made all of heaven pause in awe, not because you became someone new, but because you finally realized who you've always been in the eyes of the Lord. You weren't created to carry shame. You weren't formed to live under fear. You were made in light, by love, for love, and the Father has never taken His eyes off you, not for a moment. There's a season coming, one that's been patiently waiting to embrace you. It's unlike the others you've walked through before. It carries a softness that your soul has been starving for, a stillness that feels like a warm blanket wrapped around your heart. This is the season where God begins to return what was lost, not as a copy, but as something made new. He doesn't give back what was taken in the same shape, He replaces it with something better, something lasting, something holy. You've been crying in private for answers. You've whispered things in prayer that you've never said out loud. And though it felt like no one heard, heaven did. The angels gathered around you in those moments, not with judgment, but with sorrow and tenderness. We felt your ache. We carried your name back to the throne of God, over and over, and even in your silence, God was responding. Type 888 if you're ready for what's been delayed to arrive. An ancient 9-word code, once reserved for high-level insiders, has been uncovered. It's simple, quick, and shockingly effective at drawing money and blessings into your life. Neuroscientists confirm it stimulates the brain's receiving center, an area dormant in most people. People everywhere are calling it the 30-second miracle. Click the link in the description and comments before the authorities remove it again. I saw Him breathe over the chapters of your life that still feel unfinished. Where you see brokenness, God sees a canvas. Where you see failure, He sees a foundation. Your life is not behind schedule. You are not late. Every delay has been a preparation. Every unanswered prayer was a setup for something deeper. There were things God couldn't release to you before, not because you were unworthy, but because you were still growing into the strength needed to carry them. And now, your spirit is ready in ways you don't even realize. You've been stretched. You've been pressed. You've been through fire. But what remained is unshakable. It's what God is building on. It's where miracles will begin. I saw people whose lives were touched simply by being near you. Not because you had all the answers, but because you carried peace like a light through dark places. There's healing rising, not just in your circumstances, but in your soul. You will no longer wake up feeling heavy. You will begin to wake up with a deep breath and a quiet smile, knowing God is here. And not just near, but moving. He's already on the path ahead of you, clearing away the things meant to harm you, opening what's been shut, and lighting the way. You may not see it all yet, but the shift is happening. I saw it. I saw the very moment where your heart turned toward hope again. I saw the moment where the past stopped defining you. I saw the moment where your faith grew so quietly that it surprised even you. You didn't stop. You didn't give up. And that persistence, wrapped in trust, has made room for a blessing that cannot be taken. There will be times in the next stretch of your journey where peace will surprise you. It will come when you least expect it, standing in a familiar place, hearing a familiar song, sitting in silence. And in those moments, God will whisper, "See, I never left." He has been carrying you through waters that should have drowned you, through fires that should have burned you, through loneliness that should have broken you. And here you are. Still standing. Still soft. Still open to love. That is strength. That is faith. That is the image of Christ living in you. You will start to notice little things shifting. The conversations that once hurt will no longer sting. The memories that once haunted you will begin to lose their weight. Doors will open, but not just for opportunity. Doors will open in your heart where joy can settle in again. Not a fleeting kind, but the steady, rooted kind that stays. This is not the end of your story. This is not the part where it gets harder and stays hard. This is the place where things begin to bloom, not just around you but within you. God is rebuilding you from the inside out, and the parts that were torn have become the strongest. Your compassion is deeper now. Your love is quieter, but richer. Your understanding of others has grown because of what you've survived. And God will use all of it. He will take what the enemy tried to use against you and flip it into your testimony. He will take what others tried to bury you with and make it your platform. Not to boast in your own strength, but to boast in His mercy. To show others what grace looks like when it touches a soul and stays there, not just for a moment, but for a lifetime. Keep holding on. Keep saying yes, even when it feels like nothing is changing. Because everything is. Right under the surface. Right where it matters. And soon, you will see it unfold, not all at once, but piece by piece, like dawn slowly breaking over a dark sky. You are part of a greater story, one that was never meant to end in sorrow. Joy is your inheritance. Peace is your portion. And love, real, lasting, unshakable love, is your covering. Stay close to Jesus. Let Him remind you every single day how deeply you are known and how safely you are held. There is no place safer than in His presence, no voice more faithful than his. You're going to be alright. Not just alright, you're going to thrive. Because the future I saw was not only full of light. It was full of you living in it. Type 111 if your faith is still alive. When I stood watching what lies ahead for you, I felt something so overwhelming in my spirit that I could no longer contain my tears. It wasn't sorrow. It wasn't grief. It was the kind of emotion that fills you when you see someone finally walk into everything they've longed for after suffering in silence for far too long. I saw your future bathed in grace, not the kind that only comforts, but the kind that restores, renews, and rebuilds. I saw you walking without the chains you've carried for years. You've walked through things that would have broken many others. You've loved deeply and lost heavily. You've stayed silent when it hurt to speak, and you've pressed forward when your soul begged for rest. But heaven saw it all. God never turned his face away from you. His eyes were on you when the world forgot your name. His hands held your heart when it shattered. And now, I need you to know, it wasn't all for nothing. What you have sown in tears, you will reap in healing. You are being led into a place where the past no longer controls your present. That pain that has followed you like a shadow is starting to dissolve. Slowly, gently, the heaviness you've grown used to is being lifted. Not just because time is passing, but because God is stepping in. There is a hand reaching into your life right now, steady and sure, pulling you out of the wreckage, not to erase what happened, but to rewrite what it means. Type 1313 if you're ready for your past to stop defining your days. A hidden 9-word prayer rediscovered in a sealed government document is now changing everything for those who dare to use it. It activates your brain's forgotten abundance channel, helping you manifest prosperity in ways you've never seen before. The results: cleared debts, growing savings, sudden opportunities, speak for themselves. Don't wait until this vanishes. Click the link before it's erased from the internet. I watched as you stepped into rooms that once held memories of heartbreak, and instead of feeling crushed, you felt peace. I saw your heart stop bracing for disappointment, and instead, open wide to receive joy. And what filled those spaces was not just happiness, it was redemption. It was the sweet, quiet return of everything you thought was lost for good. What God is doing in you is not small. He is not simply patching you up and sending you back out. He is transforming the entire way you see yourself, the way you move through the world, the way you believe. He is restoring the dreams you buried, not because they were wrong, but because the timing was not yet right. And now, that timing is drawing near. You will begin to see signs. Little things at first. Conversations that stir your spirit. Encounters that feel like divine appointments. New desires rising in your heart where apathy once lived. These are not accidents. They are the whispers of heaven, the beginning of your new season. You're not walking in circles anymore. You're walking into destiny. The future I saw held moments that looked ordinary from the outside, but were sacred from above. I saw you laughing again, not the kind of laughter that hides pain, but the kind that flows from a soul finally free. I saw relationships healing, not from forced reconciliation, but because grace made space for truth. I saw you waking up with purpose, no longer questioning your worth, because it was written into every part of your being. You've always belonged. Even when the world made you feel like an outsider, God never did. You were never too much, never not enough. You've always been exactly what He created, a vessel for His love to be poured into and poured out through. And now, He's going to use your life in ways you never expected. Not in the spotlight, not for applause, but in the quiet spaces where real change happens. The strength that's growing in you now doesn't need to shout. It doesn't need to prove anything. It's rooted. It's unshakable. It's the kind of strength that comes from being held by God through every storm, and now standing not in pride, but in peace. This peace will begin to flow into your words, your decisions, your presence. Others will feel it when they're near you. And they will wonder what changed. What changed is that you finally allowed God to heal what you thought you had to carry forever. You don't have to carry it anymore. Let that sink in. You are not bound to your old story. You are not trapped in your failures. You are not sentenced to carry the pain forever. What Jesus did for you was complete. You don't need to earn a second chance, it's already been written into your name. There is more waiting for you than you can see right now. I saw places you'll go, people you'll love, and peace that will meet you like an old friend. And through it all, the Lord will walk beside you, not behind you, not ahead of you, but right next to you, always. There will be days when you still feel unsure, but that's okay. You're human. That uncertainty doesn't disqualify you, it invites you to lean closer to God. The more you walk with Him, the more you'll notice that His presence makes everything holy. The ordinary becomes sacred. The mundane becomes miraculous. And suddenly, you begin to see your life not as a series of struggles, but as a canvas of grace, painted with patience and steady love. This is where you are headed. I saw it. I felt it. And I cried, not tears of sorrow, but of joy, because I knew you were about to step into something real, something eternal. You've waited. You've believed. You've held on when letting go felt easier. And now, the shift is near. Keep your heart soft. Keep your spirit open. God is not done writing. The ink is still fresh on the next chapter. And when you read it with your own eyes, you'll understand why you had to walk through all the pages before. Type 2222 to declare that your faith won't fade.